Alright guys, Tony here, and for the on-page SEO Chrome extension tutorial that we did last night via webinar, I just wanted to make a shorter version of that because the webinar covered a lot of different things, and I wanted to have one focused video just on the techniques that I've created for the on-page SEO for Chrome extensions. Okay, so here's what's kind of bothered me over the past 3 weeks or so, is this checklist here is approaching 9,000 users. Now this checklist, a little bit of history here, it was actually created first of all in 2016, and then I rebuilt it on May the 11th it was May that I rebuilt this using LeadBlasta. And the reason I know the date is because I can see from the email list starting to build, because in LeadBlasta we have got that email opt-in option. So when people install the app, they click to open the app, they're presented with an email lock. Okay, so that asks them to subscribe to be able to use the app, or the Chrome extension to be more specific, and then they've already kind of made that micro commitment by installing first of all. So usually they will give you the email. Okay, so with that email list starting to build since May the 11th, that's the date when the email list was created and sent, folks, we have seen a lot of growth, rapid growth. Like every day there's more people coming into the email list every single day. It's on autopilot, it's set and forget, but it's not been replicated by these. Okay, so this basically had a revamp in May, and it just started taking off even better than what it did before. Now it almost had 4,000 users before, but since then it's been adding about 40 to 50 people every single day into my email list without fail, on autopilot, set and forget. What happened there? What made that one take off and the others are not taking off? What is the difference and what can we do about it? Okay, that's what I want to cover in this video. Okay, so I have solutions. Okay, and any lead magnet that you get, if you put it onto your blog, it's not taking off. Okay, you've got to do stuff, you got to drive traffic to it. This one is a little bit of anomaly because it has some things going for it that I can show you very, very quickly. So if I go into the Chrome store over here and I do a search for TubeBuddy, you can see my checklist is the next suggested related extension in here. Now if I do the same with vidIQ, you will see the same again. But look, this has got more than 1 million users. Okay, if I click on that, and this one has got more than 1 million users as well. If I click on that, 1 million plus, 1 million plus. So this is probably high traffic, getting a lot of traffic, I'm sorry, from people searching for these. Okay, they're probably seeing this and thinking, okay, I'll check that out. So there are things that we can cover though, there's things that we can do. Okay, so what I've done is basically I've created some main bullet points that I want to cover in this video. I have also created a checklist that you can use, and this is a generic on-page SEO checklist. This is taking a little while to load, and we're moving over to dedicated servers sometime this week, which will make this loading faster. Here we go, it's open now. So that should not take more than 1 second to load up, and it's because we need to put it in a dedicated server. Okay. So in this on-page SEO checklist, if you come down, you will see Chrome extension on-page SEO tips. Okay. Now I've also got another checklist that I haven't installed up here yet. It's called the 30 days list building challenge. Okay, it's using LeadBlasta, and I've also put in that list building challenge on-page SEO tips, and I've actually taken that one a little bit further. Okay, so I'll put those resources here that you can pick these up, these checklists up. You can go to the Chrome store from these links here. Okay, so let's have a look just to see where we are with a brand new Chrome extension. You can see here that I have this one, and it's been uploaded July 20th. Oh, it's actually 10 days. 10 days. I didn't even realize it was so long. So it's been there 10 days. It's only got 34 users. It hasn't taken off, but has it got any rankings? Okay, so here's the first tip. Tip number 1 is that we have a broad match optimization for main keywords that we want to rank for. So in this situation, I want to rank for on-page SEO. Okay, that one's going to be hard to do. I need to send backlinks, I would imagine, or I need to send a reasonable amount of positive user behavior signals. What is the user behavior signals? It's when people are clicking through from search results. It's when people are doing social shares. It's when people are doing commenting. It's where people are doing are spending time on a blog, or retention time on a video. In the case of the Chrome store, then the user behavior signal, the obvious one, is if they install your Chrome extension. Okay, so this is a ranking factor. Okay, this is a ranking factor because it is the user behavior signal. It's something that YouTube that Google can see. Okay, so my broad match optimization here is going to be, first of all, on-page SEO, which is exact match, and then on-page SEO checklist, which is exact match. And we'll just check the rankings for that right now. And we're on page 5 for that. Okay, that's okay, I can fix that. We can put that into up to page 2 very, very quickly, just with a few user behavior signals using VidAttack Alpha, which we will use to get some CTR clicks for these specific keywords. So we do a search in YouTube or Google search engine for the specific keywords we want to rank for. When we find our content, we click through on that content, and then we have high retention time on that video. But what we do is we put one link in the description of that video, and for some reason Google will start to rank whatever that link is. If it's a landing page, if it's a blog post, if it's a sales page, if it's an article, or if it's a Chrome store page like this, it will start to rank that actually above the video for those keywords, for those exact, precise, specific keywords. Okay, so that's how that works. Okay, so you can see that, I mean, that's easy for me to bump that up. Okay, just using the VidAttack Alpha techniques. It's called Rank Attack SEO, that system that I created for this, and we stumbled upon that quite by accident. It wasn't anything that I had planned. It was just something we noticed as we started to use the CTR clicks and the high retention views. Okay, so next, on-page SEO ranking factors. So this isn't an exact match anymore. Check it, and we're on page 4. Okay, so on-page SEO checklist, we're in page 5. This one, on-page SEO ranking factors, we're in page 4. Okay, now the final one is tips, and let's put on-page SEO tips. On-page SEO tips, and we're on page 9. Okay, so that must be a more competitive keyword, but here's the thing, we haven't done anything. There's no backlinks or anything here. That's just with the stuff that we got, the on-page optimization that we got in here. Okay, so let's take this section here. This is one thing we discovered with the YouTube SEO checklist one, is that when you create these subsections and you put your subsection title in, or sub headline in full capital letters, because we can't use any H tags here, but we can use capital letters, then what we can do is expect them to rank. Now if I put this in here, on page SEO tools, click on check, you can see we start to rank. Okay, and this is just some very, very basic stuff, all about the on-page SEO for these pages, for these specific Chrome extension pages. Now the thing is with these subsections is, when you understand what those subsections are, or what they should be, whether it's going to be some commonly asked questions or FAQs, or if it's going to be some subtopics, then what you want to do is you want to go over to Ubersuggest. I suggest that you go over to Ubersuggest. Okay, and in Ubersuggest, if you do your put your subsection main keyword that you're targeting for that subsection or for that subheadline area. Like for this one, on-page SEO tools, you will see I would suggest gives really related kind of keywords. They're very similar kind of keywords. Okay, on-page SEO tools, on-page SEO tool. What's the difference? Oh, this one's got a hyphen. Analysis tools, best off-page SEO tools. So you want to stick to the on-page ones, and you can just cherry pick some of these, and you're going to sprinkle them through that section there. Yeah, you sprinkle that through this section here, so that you've got those keywords fitted in naturally. Okay, and that's how we can take that further with that kind of optimization. So that's some of the basic stuff that we should be aware of. Now let's go into some of the more ninja stuff. Okay, this is where it gets more exciting. This is where it gets more interesting as well. The other stuff we just covered is kind of, it's common sense, and you will start to see it working more and more as you start to do it yourself. But here's what really takes off, and what will help us to make the growth happen a lot faster. Okay, so this is again based on user behavior signals. Okay, so the one user behavior signal that we can get from these Chrome extension pages is people installing your Chrome extension, people becoming a user, the number of users increasing. Okay, when that happens, then that's sending that signal over to Google. So how do we do it? Now here's a couple of things that I've been playing around with. Okay, you see this section here, what you'll learn and discover in this checklist. Okay, and I've got things like which is the best SEO plugin in 2020 and why, which WordPress plugin is best for creating FAQ schema for your website results in the search results, and the SERPs I should have in here. How to map out your website's categories in the silo in just a couple of clicks with a free tool that I link to. My recommended 5 gigs to get your site speed sorted, or SSL certificate installed, or various other technical SEO tasks. And just these things written like this, it creates an information gap. Okay, creates an information gap. Now, there's two ways we can do it. You can see I've done this for multiple things that I have covered within the checklist. So the checklist actually answers these questions. So basically what I've done is I've created my checklist, and then I've looked at the checklist, and then I've started to create questions that the checklist is answering. Okay, what is the questions that my checklist provides a solution for? So that's what I'm doing here. I'm telling them which is the best SEO plugin and why. I'm telling them which plugin is best to use for the FAQ schema and why. I've even got a video in there for how to do that. Okay, so that kind of thing. Now there's another way that we can do this. Okay, if I come over into this one here, where I've taken just one thing, instead of going through all of the items or picking up multiple items, I've taken one item, and then I started expanding on that. I've created an information gap with just one thing. So if you're struggling because you don't have many things, maybe you've got a checklist, it's only 7 items, I don't know, that can work, it can work. But then you would want to focus on just one thing. So you create that information gap with one thing. So this one is based on email service provider that I recommend within my checklist. Okay, this checklist here is for email list building hacks for affiliates. Okay, so I'm basically telling them about a one-cost email service provider. Now I don't have a link in here for some JVZoo product or Warrior Plus product. It's created by one of those guys, one of those launch gurus who have another tool out next week, etc., etc. This is actually based on a very good product that is a one-time cost. Okay, that has got referral marketing at the bottom of every email, where it's getting people to share your content in order to get something, and it's on the bottom of every single email you send out if you choose to use it like that. Okay, it's there. It doesn't require any complicated setup like setting up SendGrid or Mailgun or Amazon S3 or anything like that, which is where a lot of people get stuck when you see these kind of tools that says one-time cost. This is a genuine one-time cost that works out of the box. Okay, you just upload your email list and you start emailing. It's got a really good open rate as well, and it's created by people who are really real marketing gurus. I mean, real marketing gurus, like they've created multiple million-dollar products. So you know, this kind of thing focuses on one thing. Now, what is that doing? Now, I'm telling you this without telling you what the product is. You might be aware of what the product is, but right now, if you don't know, you're probably curious, like, what is this thing? And then I can tell them as well, look, it costs just $49 one-time cost. You don't have to pay anything monthly after that. You can send unlimited emails after that. Okay, then it's piquing their interest. So therefore, we created an information gap. Now, what does that information gap do for the on-page SEO? Well, it fuels the install, the desire to install. It fuels a conversion. Okay, it's a conversion tactic. So this is part of on-page SEO. The conversion here is part of on-page SEO. The conversion here is our goal. Okay, and what we put up here, I've got something not good here on this one, and when it comes to this one, I've got something not good here as well. Okay, now there is a formula that we can use for this part, but we want to keep this short so that we can keep this part here near the top. You can see how this stands out. What we want to do is keep this part short. Okay, and here's how we do it. We have a formula that we use. Okay, just a very, very simple formula. You might have seen me talking about this before on different webinars. This is from a guy on YouTube. If you have a look for a guy on YouTube called Copywriting Course with a K, Copywriting with a K, and Course with a K. You have find his channel there. You will see a link to get a free PDF, and he's got loads of these formulas. Okay, now watch this formula. This works. Okay, so we have like the ROT formula. Let's go over to my template here. I'll give you this template as well underneath this video. Okay, so the ROT formula is where we use results, objection, and time. Okay, in a paragraph or in a sentence. So for example, the result could be how to get page 1 rankings. Objection could be even if you don't know anything about SEO, and time can be within 48 hours. Okay, for example. So that would read, if I put that into a sentence, here's how you can get page 1 Google rankings even if you know nothing about SEO, and within 48 hours. Okay, now the good thing about the ROT formula is it's interchangeable. So if I change the T to be the second one here, the time to be second here, it would then read how to get page 1 Google rankings within 48 hours, even if you know nothing about SEO. So in some instances, it actually sounds better to interchange these. Okay, that little formula there works. So if you got that, and then you follow up with the information gap, you are pretty much doing, you know, reasonably well at the very, very minimum. Okay, you will be creating that curiosity. Okay, you will be creating that desire to know more, and so that when they take the first action to install, okay, just install it so you can see the process here. Just find this in here. Let's put this like this. So when they actually go to open this, let's give it a second. Yeah, we need to move that server. It should not take more than 1 second. Okay, this is what they're presented with. They've already taken the action. Okay, the first action. So they're already committed. And then we collect an email list. That we collect an email address, so we build our email list. Okay, that's basically how that works, and that gives us a positive user behavior signals. Okay, so that's the key thing to take away. That's the key ninja thing to take away. Okay. Now, how can we take that further? How can we escalate it? Well, we can escalate it because we can use, hold on a second, I'm just going to put this volume off on the other computer that's next to me, otherwise Skype is gone off there from one of the groups. Okay, so we are using the Chrome store, which has already got ready-made traffic. Okay, and Chrome has got billions of users, according to Forbes anyway. I think Forbes said 2 billion users. Now, I don't know about you, but I use Chrome extensions a lot. I'm forever searching for Chrome extensions. Not every day, but regularly, yeah. I'm looking for something, looking for some solutions. I'm looking for, just to see somebody's created something, and then you will stumble upon other stuff as you're there, and you test things out, etc. That's basically ready-made traffic that we can tap into within the Chrome store. But also, we can tap into YouTube as well. So if we have a video that is talking about our Chrome extension, or we have a video that's talking about some part of what we're teaching within the Chrome extension checklist, then we link to our checklist from there. Then we can get traffic as well from YouTube, which has got a lot of inbuilt traffic. Okay, there's massive traffic in YouTube, we know that. So that gives us 2 places where we can get ready-made traffic that we can tap into, that are both owned by Google. Okay, and this will help us to get rankings as well. Now, we know that it doesn't take much to rank these keywords in Google without any backlinks. I've just showed you we've got some rankings there. Okay, they're not hugely impressive right now, but go and have a look at the YouTube SEO one that I did, that's been there for a while, that has been optimized, that has had a kickstart from Video Attack Alpha campaigns, that has got those user behavior signals, and you'll see it is ranking on page 1 from multiple keywords, and some of those keywords are high traffic. Okay, so we can do it even without backlinks. Okay, even without backlinks, that one is ranking. Okay, so that's 3 areas where we can tap into, 3 Google areas that we can tap into. Search results that we know we can get rankings from, YouTube that we know we can get a lot of traffic and rankings from, and the Chrome store where we know that we can tap into ready-made traffic. Okay, so there's some things that we can do to make that happen. Now, the 45 character title, I've just kind of explained to you how that works. Okay, so we're using the broad match optimization. So for example, here my main keyword is on page SEO. Now, I'm probably going to need backlinks for that, I would imagine. That's going to be a very, very competitive keyword, even more so than YouTube SEO checklist or YouTube SEO, which we're also ranking for. This, I think, is going to be harder. Okay, so my YouTube SEO check, my on-page SEO checklist is a sort of longer tail version of that. Okay, now if I send some Video Attack Alpha CTR clicks and views to the keyword on-page SEO checklist, it's also going to start to move me up in rankings for the keyword on-page SEO. And if I send CTR clicks and retention views to the YouTube video for the keyword on-page SEO ranking factors, again, it's going to have a positive impact on the on-page SEO keyword, shorter tail keyword, main keyword. And if I send on-page SEO tips keyword, okay, if I send CTR clicks and retention views to that, then again it has the same effect. That's the 45 characters being used efficiently. Okay, that's how we use that. Now, you're going to do something very, very similar with your YouTube video title as well. So you want to map this out before you put your video on YouTube. You want to map this out on a Google Doc or something like that, so you can play around with it, because it's probably a good idea that you come back to it a few times, and it's a good idea that you have this mapped out and then you're ready, so that when you do put your video on YouTube, you're not messing about at that particular time and getting impatient when you're actually in the process of optimization. If you have your process of optimization done beforehand, it's going to be a lot easier for you, especially if you come back to it a couple of times before you put your video up. Okay, so with the YouTube video title, there's a major difference, and that is that we got 100 characters to use in the YouTube one. Okay, so here's what works is if I send CTR clicks with high retention views to a keyword phrase that is got all of the words from that keyword phrase can be found in that title, then it's going to start ranking. It's going to find the content, it's going to start ranking for that keyword. Okay, so the title is really major factor. Okay, it's a major factor in your Chrome store page. It's a major factor in your YouTube title as well, but you've got more characters to work with. So for example, I could use for this one, for the on-page SEO one, I could put in something like 35 on-page SEO tips. So we'll just come back over, I'm kind of guessing here. So I could put in like 35 on-page SEO ranking factors, tips and checklist to get rankings fast, something like that. I could add an extra phrase or an extra few words that gives me some extra keywords that I can rank for. Okay, so then it would give me options that I can go and do CTR clicks for on-page SEO ranking factors, on-page SEO tips, on-page SEO fast ranking strategy or something like that. So I can just add those extra bits in there and it will start to pick up. So you need to give it some thought, and the way to do that without having to overthink it is to use tools like Suggest or go and find some tags, etc. That people are using for that particular keyword, your main keyword that you're searching for. So for example, if I go into my tag grabber over here, in fact, let's go into the creative version of this. If I create a new project here and I put in here on-page SEO. Now, let me just set up a project. I basically have to fill in 4 fields, but I can do that very quickly like this. Okay, just choose one of these. Okay, now I'm in here in the search and add, and I can go and put in my keyword on-page SEO and do the search. And what happens then is I've got 50 results come back. Now if I choose all of these and I import into my sort of work area here, then I've got 50 top ranking videos for the keyword on-page SEO. Now what I want to do is I want to find the keywords. What I can do is I can come over to the tag grabber, and that's going to get all of the keywords used by all of those 50 videos, and it's going to give you the count. And what we do then is we snipe the ones that are really specific. Okay, so you can see all of these I'm choosing are really about on-page SEO, but if I see a keyword in here that fits in my title, SEO tips, I'm going to take this. I might want to take something like learn SEO, but I need to put the word learn in there if I'm going to use it. So this can give you access to other people's research. They've already done the research. You can bet your boots, especially if it's an SEO kind of keyword phrase that you're targeting. Okay, you can bet your boots somebody in there has done their research, and you can go and pick out these keywords and snipe these keywords very quickly. And this can give you ideas of what you can use for your title. Okay, this tag grabber in the LeadBlasta version, this basically allows you to put in multiple keywords at one time, whereas the VidCurate one is one keyword for that particular playlist. Okay, this you can put in multiple keywords, so that gives you more keywords coming back. Okay, so you can also do it in this tool here from Suggest. You can do something similar in here. Just put in your main keyword like on-page SEO and do your search, and this is a free tool as well. See what comes back. So we got things like on-page SEO checker, analysis, checklist, optimization tools, etc. So you can get some ideas in here, so you can find, you're not stuck. Basically, you've got multiple places that you can get that kind of information. Okay, the tag grabber is very good as well, because it gives you those keywords we can use in the video, but also that we can sprinkle into our content as well. Okay, so that's basically what we can do there. Okay, so your YouTube video title, you got 100 characters. Okay, that you can use. So you got double what we used here, and you can see how efficiently we can use that just by my example for the on-page SEO. Okay, how efficiently that was used. We've got rankings for the 3 or 4 keywords that's been identified. Now all I've got to do is nudge them with user behavior signals from VidAttack Alpha campaigns and from the Rank Attack SEO system, where I can send even more traffic as well, and I can even get social signals, and I can get likes and comments if I want, with traffic that I completely control, absolutely completely control. Okay, so this is where it starts to multiply. We can do more positive user behavior signals, and notice I'm using this more than I'm using backlinks. I haven't even really mentioned backlinks to say that we don't really need them as much for this, for the Chrome store sort of pages. Okay, I would expect that I'm going to need backlinks for the on-page SEO keyword. It's not the same as YouTube SEO. Why? Because it's been around for a lot more years than just YouTube SEO. There's a lot more content on the internet for on-page SEO. It gets mentioned a lot. Okay, there's a lot of really top marketing experts or SEO experts ranking for that particular keyword. It's going to be a tough one to actually crack. Okay, so if you look at compare the competition for both, you will see a big difference when you look at who's there. And even the YouTube SEO one, it has got, you know, a lot of competition, but this one I think is going to be harder. I think it needs backlinks. Anyway, so the next thing is identifying those tags. And the reason why I've got the tags before the description is because we want to make sure whatever tags we've got, we've fitted it into the description. And then what we can do is we can even add tags as hashtags. So you've got it in your description as naturally part of your paragraphs and your description. Okay, and then you're going to take the same tags and you're going to make some hashtags from them, so there's no spaces. Okay, and you put that in there as well. And you can put those hashtags in the YouTube video, and you can put it also into your Chrome extension page. Okay, so that gives you a good overall strategy for on-page SEO. Okay, and I put it in a template here, so you can just basically follow this. Okay, so I've covered all the sort of main things. The only thing that I haven't covered here is these sections that I was talking about, subheadings and FAQs, etc. Well, if you want to find questions, you can use Suggest, and you can find most common questions about any topic. Okay, you can get some ideas here. You can see how other people have answered them in the people also asked section of the search results, or you can just write from the top of your head what you know yourself. Okay, to give you completely unique content. Same for the subheadings. If you wanted to, you know, for this example, I've got on-page SEO tools, we've got on-page SEO techniques, we've got on-page SEO. What do we have there? Let me just go over on-page SEO checklist. We've got on-page SEO analysis, etc., etc. So there's various things that we can just pick out the subtopics from that. Okay, from these kind of tools, and you can see how other people have done it as well. So basically that's it. You want to create those hashtags, and then finally you want to put in some recommended tools. Now why am I doing this? It's not, you cannot put a hyperlink on that page. Okay, but here's what happens. Remember, I got ranking next to Chrome extensions like TubeBuddy and vidIQ. What I'd actually done is I actually mentioned them in a section of my on-page SEO, on a section of my Chrome extension page, I should say. So the on-page SEO was actually including mentioning TubeBuddy and vidIQ. Okay, did it have a huge impact? I don't really know if that was responsible or not, but it's just best practice. Okay, that we can use, and we can test it, and we can try it. Okay, so for example, in this one here, on-page SEO, if I scroll down the bottom here, there's a related section. Google is actually telling me how to optimize my content. Maybe I should be mentioning this. Okay, and put it in here, so it's contextual. Okay, so maybe we can appear as a suggested extension. Okay, so that can work. Okay, and you can do this. You can do similar things with your YouTube tags and descriptions as well. You can mention. Okay, let's go and have a look in my playlist here. If I sort this out with not the rankings, but with the views, I need to do the search again from here. put on-page SEO, do the search. There we go. And then I can sort this out by the views. Okay, so this one here has got 219,000 views, but this has been around since 2015. I want something more updated. This one here, 217,000 branding, 9 actionable tips for on-page SEO. Okay, this is good. So we can mention this, and we can even link to this from your description if you really wanted to. But you can mention it, you can say like branding on-page SEO, 9 actionable SEO techniques at work. That can help as well. Okay, so you can do that afterwards. I would actually do that afterwards once you've actually got rankings, so that you can add extra links in there, because I think if you're going to put information about that in your YouTube video, then probably you should link to it. You can even just test it temporarily and then take it off again later if it's not working. Okay, you've got total control there of your own on-page optimization, that you can change things and move things about. The other thing that we can do with this, and the easier way to do that, is to create playlists. Okay, so if I created a playlist about on-page SEO, and I put the top ranking videos in there, and then I put my video at the top, and then I did another playlist that would be about actionable SEO tips, right? Then it's not exactly the same, but we've got something similar, okay? And we put our video at the top. So we start to align our content. So what we can do is we can take those 3 or 4 keywords, like SEO tools. We can take the keywords like SEO ranking factors, on-page SEO ranking factors, etc. Make a playlist for each of them, put your video at the top. You can see how that starts to align your content with these guys, okay? And that can help as well, okay? So I think that's about it. That's basically what we covered in that webinar in a nutshell. So even now it's gone into 37 minutes just talking about this stuff, but there's some good tips here. Okay, this is what I recommend we do. I need to go back and change some things with mine as well. I've been doing little tests and small things, big things, and you know, just basically trying to figure out how do we make this into an easy, usable template that we can just tap into anytime we want. So if I start to do on-page optimization from a Chrome extension, then it's done from here originally, okay? And that I can just copy and start to fill in the blanks. Okay, that's basically what we can do. So you have a template. It's nothing fantastic as far as what you can see here, but it's pretty in depth. There's a lot of thought going into it. Okay, there's a little bit of testing going into it as well, and there's some common sense. Just know one thing, that user behavior signals are becoming more and more and more important. Okay, I'm not saying backlinks are not important, but I'm saying that this is getting more and more and more important. And if there's something that we can do that is obvious, in this case it's getting the install from the Chrome extension page, then that's what we need to focus on for that. Okay, so we can focus from YouTube for getting the traffic, the CTR clicks, etc., and use those CTR clicks in combination with the high retention video views and the increased watch time on your YouTube channel, etc., or for your video, etc., with that one link in description, which will help to go on to push the rankings for this. But also you can do something here as well. So it's just a combination of common sense things that we can use. And so this little template, as small as it is, there's a bit of work in here. You have to do a bit of work in here. Okay, don't forget you've got 16,000 characters that you can use on that page, so you can rank for a lot of keywords if you really want to go into it. Now there's one more tip, one more final tip that I would suggest. Okay, there is a tool called Surfer SEO. Surfer SEO. You can either buy a membership with them, or what I suggest is go over to Fiverr.com, type in Surfer SEO, and you will see people that are offering gigs on Fiverr.com that they will actually, once you've created your on-page for your Chrome extension page, then he will tell you what you're missing. Okay, because they're using 500 ranking factors, different ranking factors for on-page SEO. That's what they're claiming on their marketing. And basically, a lot of people swear by it. It's doing very, very well. But do this first, and then you can go and spend $5 with this guy, and that will give you some extra bits in here. But I'm pretty sure we can cover a lot just with the stuff I'm telling you, okay, without any extra cost. But for $5, and if it's a very competitive keyword, could really be worth a lot of money for you in the long run if you can get a Chrome extension that is building your email list day in and day out. Then that $5 becomes like insignificant. It becomes like part of the plan at that point if you look at it like that. So you've got to look at all the options that we can use here and decide for yourself which ones you really want to work with. Okay. Anyway, thank you for watching.